Hey y'all, Moses here. Welcome back to the first 48 hours of Tarkov. If you haven't watched the first video in this series, I do recommend you go back and watch it. But today we're talking about the next steps. I told you that after the first 12 hours, you were in for another 12 hours of pain. And I think if you've stuck with it this long, you've probably begun to understand exactly what that means. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look a little bit forward. Hopefully by now you're level 5. So if you're not level 5 yet, keep working, keep trying those tasks. We're going to be focusing on making money and using your scav runs and a couple other things today that I think will be very helpful in your young Tarkov life. One other thing before we get started, liking the video and commenting really does help. I'm new to making Tarkov content, and YouTube's algorithm kind of wants to see some buy-in from the audience. So if you do like the video or the video series, just please leave a like. It does help the channel a lot. And be sure to check out the Antline audio link in the description if you want to show some love to the sponsors as well. They make great products. You've already heard me talk about it, but today we're talking about making money, not spending money. Well, let's get started. Okay, so today we're focusing on funding your PMC, which is kind of the biggest source of anxiety that a lot of players have, is just this number up here. You know, how much money you've got in the bank, how much gear can you afford? You know, how are you going to keep going? That's always the fear, at least it was for me, is you going broke is like, oh my God, I can't afford anything. So buying stuff, you're going to be thrifty. You're going to be using a lot of different kinds of cheap guns, cheap gear, and you're probably going to be dying because of that cheap gun, cheap gear situation. So that's okay. But how do you get to here? Now, you guys are probably looking like, oh, 11 million. That's crazy. Well, it is kind of crazy. I've been very fortunate and very lucky, but it all comes because of learning. And how I started making money at the very beginning was using my scav runs properly. Now, for those of you who don't understand exactly how scavs work, the difference is, again, you have your scav character, which is random gear. You have to wait 20 minutes to use it on off cooldown. So use your scav run. If you die right away, you got to wait 20 minutes before you can go again. Your PMC, you can play as often as you want, but you have to heal your character after you die and re-gear and all that kind of stuff. So scav runs are very important to use and very important to maximize early on. Now, a lot of people will tell you, you know, scav runs, you go interchange, go reserve, shoreline, all the money-making maps. But the thing is that right now, interchange is a mess. It's not a bad place to do your scav run, but as a new player, consistently getting out of interchange is going to be a little bit difficult unless you practice and do a lot of research. And because you're spending so much time on customs, I would recommend doing your scav run here and doing the cash run that I used to do. It's a little bit less lucrative than it was when I started playing, because it was earlier on in the wipe, and stuff that you find in caches was a little bit more expensive, but you can still find a lot of good stuff in there. So you're probably wondering, what the hell is a cash run? I'm going to walk you through that really fast. Pestily has made some content on this already. I'm going to put a map up on screen when I'm editing to show you the cache map, and I'll put a link to that map in the description, because I use this on almost all my scav runs. It helped me learn customs basically inside and out, because you're going to be moving all around the map and learning the extracts and that kind of stuff. So it really does have some synergy with where you're at likely as a player right now. So I'm going to jump into offline mode. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the caches and how you can use them on your scav runs to make a little bit of money. So let's jump into that. Okay, welcome back to Customs. I'm sure you're getting probably a little bit tired of seeing this place by now, but we are here, and we are going to do a quick overview of the cash run. I've basically set my character up in like kind of scav fashion. I don't have a vest on, but I do have a scav backpack and a pistol and whatever. Anyway, you're gonna be dealing with the scav loadouts as they come. You might not get a backpack at all. You might only have a duffel or even a sling bag. It really does depend on obviously their RNG factors. But just as a heads up, when it comes to the cash run, you're likely not going to be spawning on this side. You'll probably be spawning on the main side of customs. This is typically where most players spawn. But just as a brief overview, just try and maximize your scav runs. And if it feels like you're maybe trying to force yourself into a location where there might be a cache or loot that you want, it is better to get out as a scav and then vendor all of your items than it is to die, because at least you're going to get something out of that. So I'm going to fast forward for a little bit as we jump across, and then we'll talk about the actual route that I like to take on this map. Okay, so this is like the main choke point area, this little channel between the customs warehouse side and then the main side, as I like to call it. Dorms is that direction. The primary warehouses, everything is in here. And this is the channel area. So there's 2 caches here. Well, we're going to check first. These ones are right next to each other. And in customs, because the map is so linear, you're going to find that this little route, at least if you start on this side of the map or if you spawn up there as a scav, you can kind of run down here. Just use the channel as your reference point. So here's your first cache. It's these little guys here. This is one of the easier ones to spot. And these things can spawn basically anything in the game. So high value loot, meds. It can spawn barter items like this. So what you want to be doing is just, unless you know what the values are, just vacuum up as much as you can. Because everything does have a value. So if you're just getting used to the whole situation, the other cache is just right across from it in this bush right here. It can be a little harder to spot these ones. But again, like this stuff when I started playing was worth like 100k. So finding this was good. These are 20k. You're just trying to maximize the amount of stuff you get out of these runs. Even if you don't know the value, you'll learn the value as you do this. And that's kind of the best way to learn because there's just so many items in Tarkov that knowing the value only comes with experience. So let's keep running and I'll show you the next one. One thing to be mindful on customs as well is that this is a very high traffic area. People don't like to go on the bridge, or they'll go on the junk bridge or wherever, but typically there's going to be a lot of traffic. People coming from the other side of the map to extract over here will come this way. So when you're crossing here, just try and make it nice and fast and try to avoid getting caught in this area. Something that's kind of difficult to get over when you're playing this game is just like how fast you should be moving. As a scav, you should be treating it as like nothing ventured, nothing gained. Don't put too much stock into your scav run's success or failure, because sometimes you're just going to get popped and there's nothing you can really do about it. You're going against people with better gear. Killing players as a scav, even low-level players, can be somewhat difficult unless you get a good scav loadout or the drop on a player. So really the scav run is all about just getting what you can and getting out. Don't worry about PvP unless you really want to, in which case go bananas. You can definitely try and make PvP a point of your scav as well, because again, there's just no downside to playing as a scav. Nothing bad's gonna happen if you die. So the next cache is just actually in here. This is a very high traffic cache. This one gets looted all the time because this is just one of the ones that everybody knows about. So again, let's pop this guy open, see what's inside. And a blood set. Okay, so you get a little bit of cash. Just as a reference, this USB-A, I mean, you can take it. It's definitely better than nothing. You want to maximize your slots. Don't try to leave as few empty slots on your money runs as possible. Even if it's not the most valuable item in the world, anything is better than nothing. So just keep that in mind. So the next cache is just along the bus terminal wall. This is a relatively safe one, but is again in a relatively high traffic area. So you're at the corner of the bus terminal, you just look this way, run over, it's right here. So these caches are relatively easy to find. S&B ammo is good. That's a high-level sniper. You're just vacuuming up everything you can. I'm just gonna leave some stuff behind, but we're gonna keep running. Now there's another cache just up here. But again, just be careful when you're coming around here because people like to transit through this spot. So just when you're coming through, just make sure you're checking the wall. Make sure there's no one chilling. Because again, you're getting into a pretty busy part of the map. So again, you come from where we just were. You can see the edge of the bus terminal just through the trees. You come through the wall, and it's just right here. This one kind of sucks. This is the best 545 ammo you can get, so definitely pick that up and then move on. So at this point, you're at the gas station, and this is where I would typically go the other direction. You can actually just jump along this wall, and this is kind of the confusing part of customs. I still get twisted up around here sometimes. Just run back the other way. Use that radio tower as kind of a reference point. and is trying to run towards where the edge of the wall here is, because there's more caches along the wall and at the base of this power line. I don't know if I'll be able to hit every single one in this video. I'm just trying to make this as linear as possible as far as running around is concerned. But from that area, you kind of run up and you can hit this one here as well. You're likely going to be full on loot if you're just vacuuming everything. So again, as a reference for the power lines here, it's just right up against the wall. It can be a little hard to get, but it's right here. Meds, always good. MRE's always good. And a 5.7, that's a great find. I can't take it, but this is the kind of stuff. It spawns literally everything. So I'm already full. In this case, I would probably toss whatever pistol I had, or if I had a pistol at all. But these 5.7s are the best pistols in the game, in my opinion. All right, so from there, you also want to keep note of your extract. I have PMC extract, so it's going to be a little bit different. But just make note of your extracts. Reference the map. The cache map has extracts actually labeled on there as well. But just keep note of where you have to go and kind of plan your route accordingly, or hit your caches accordingly. So you come down past the trains, and then these ones are a little bit harder to find, especially as a new player, because they're in bushes and whatnot, but I'll do my best to show you. Okay, so just one more thing. There is another cache out there somewhere. I think it's closer to the middle of the map. I typically don't loot that one because it's not on the route and it's not on the edge of the map. And wandering around in the middle of customs is a good way to get shot. So this one, by the way, a little harder to see, but it's again looking at the train yard and this fence. You'll have this little guy right here. It's in this bush. You'll be able to spot it as long as it's not too dark or if you're not too twisted. But this area of the map all kind of looks the same, but that one is one of the harder ones to spot sometimes. Okay, so this is one of the extracts that you can use as a scav, but there's another cache right here as well, just next to the dumpster. Find and raid Tashanka, always good. Don't sell these guys. These guys you're going to need for a quest, so just keep that in mind. Screws, you're going to use that for your hideout. So again, just looking at this dumpster, this one's one of the easier ones to find, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, and then we're off to the next one. All right, as we get to this point, something to note is that this is another high traffic area. You have the sniper scav that likes to hang out there. You have the hole in the wall that players will transition through a lot. So this is an area of the map where you're going to get into a lot of altercations if you're not careful. So be quick through here. There are no caches, just thought I'd point that out. And we're kind of getting to the end of what the route that I traditionally used. So there's one cache to keep note of. This one's kind of exposed, so I'll show you my little trick. Is as soon as you start searching this thing, you have about just a couple of seconds of a window to do other stuff. So you hit search. Hold on, search. And then prone right at the last second. That makes you a little bit less of a target. And this one I found an AK. Look at that. So I found a gun as well. So this is... Well, we got one more cache to check before we call it a day, but... We're feeling good now. We got a new gun. And then we got one more cache to check, which is just right over here. And it's going to be super convenient for this video as well. Bam. Right here. Another big fatty. We got some meds, which is always good. Always take meds. Those things are always going to be valuable. MREs, these things are actually worth a lot on the flea market. Food and meds are, you just can't go wrong in barter items like this. We're going to leave this stuff behind, but this is like not the most amazing cash run I've ever had. You know, sometimes you'll find stuff like fuel conditioner, high-level barter items like pressure gauges and thermostats and all sorts of different stuff. But this is kind of as close to, I think, that a realistic scav run would look like. Save for the gamma container, you'll probably have a tactical rig and probably a different backpack, but you're not going to be able to always get awesome stuff. But as you learn values, you'll be able to kind of pick and choose Like for instance, I would have taken that other MRE instead of this toilet paper and the measuring tape. You know, again, just keep in mind that they're not all going to be gems, but this cash run, if you do it consistently, will make you some money and will help you learn customs basically inside and out, which will be very helpful, especially as a brand new like level 5-ish player. But yeah, that's the cash run. Again, just try it, practice it. You'll get to know the map. You'll get a little bit of cash in the bank, as well as you'll be able to escape with whatever scav stuff you have on as well, so you can either use it or vendor it afterwards. So that'll be really helpful. So let's move on. Okay, so you've made your cash run, you've got your scav run. Now is the biggest question is, how do I sell stuff? How does this whole market thing work? What goes to the vendor? What goes to the flea market? And I'm going to show you a couple of examples and a brief overview of the flea market, which you will only get access to once you hit level 5. So the level 1 to 5 is a grind, and again, I hope you've made it through that without too much heartbreak. So in your trading menu, you're going to have immediately a vision of all of your traders, and then you'll have the flea market tab up here. Don't worry, auctions just doesn't exist yet. It's not available in the beta. So that's that. So basically what you want to do is, at least at first, is hit this add offer screen. You can only have 3 total offers up at any given time. You will unlock more. I think once you hit the 10 trader rating, you get another slot. So let's just take a look here at an item you'd probably find in a cache. So let's say this soap here. So once you have this add offer screen up, this is what I like to do. First, hit back here, move this window, remove barter items, or barter offers rather. That'll clear this up and show you the prices. So what you want to do is you want to right click and filter by the item. All right. And you can see here that soap is going for around 12K. It's used in some hideout stuff, so typically you'll get fairly good value out of it. But just one thing to note, this 12K right here is the flea market current value. That doesn't mean that the traders will give you a less of a good deal. So potentially, therapists could give us, who typically pays the most for items, a good deal. And you can see here that the therapist will pay us 2,900 rubles for the same soap, so that goes on the flea market. One other thing to note, this Bitcoin, which you can find in both maps. I'm not sure if you can find them in caches, but you will come across them eventually. This is essentially just a straight up currency conversion, Bitcoin into rubles or whatever. Therapist does give you the most amount of money for it, so just keep that in mind. You can see here that she's selling hers for 123K. If we do the same thing, we can see here that the lowest price on the flea market is 119. So I'm going to go ahead and just buy one right there. Oh, I see someone already bought it. See, that was lucky. I would have taken that back to therapist and sold it to her. So make sure that you're checking the traders, specifically therapists, for the values of items before you sell on the flea market, because they might be selling below market value. These are new players. They don't know. You can tell by their trader ratings that they're actually giving up money by buying them below trader value. And there will be people watching this type of stuff, snapping it up. So don't be these guys. So yeah, so again, just go through the traders. I think the mantra that I heard about traders is like therapist, skier, mechanic, ragman, whatever. But these guys all buy different stuff. Like ragman, I don't think will buy weapon attachments, but skier will buy weapon attachments, and he'll give you a good price for that. So there is some small extra margin of value by, say, disassembling a gun in your inventory and selling it for scraps. So you can just pick whatever gun, a Mosin, M4, whatever, an AK, you can find it. If you disassemble, so if you right click and disassemble, it'll strip it all off. All the parts will come off. You can sell them all to skier and then sell the remnants to mechanic afterwards to get a little bit more money. But it's so marginal, and over time, you're just not going to have the patience. You'll just wind up selling it all to one person or the other, unless you're like super keen on maximizing all your value. So just make sure that you're checking the trader prices as well as the flea market and making sure that you're getting the best deal possible. Because one other thing to note is when you do list stuff on the flea market, and let's say we want to sell this paracord, paracords go for like 160K, I think, or 175. If I put this up for 175,000, I'm paying a 15,000 ruble tax. You do not get taxed when you sell to the traders. So keep this math in mind. This part of the game is like its own entity. Like there's escaping from Tarkov, shooting and killing, all that stuff. The inventory screen and the market is a separate game. You could actually just play the market if you wanted to. Finding the values and what goes through what is very, very realistic to a real economy because it is player driven. So for example, right now, the LEDXs, something you're going to need for your hideout, is a very expensive item. They were in a drop on Twitch not long ago. And because of that, the prices have dropped. These things used to be 1.7 million. Now they're down to 1.1. A couple weeks from now, they're going to be back up again. I promise you that. So just playing the market and understanding values is its own entity. It's going to take a lot of time to know what's worth it, especially when it comes to specialty items, barter items that are always changing in cost. But this is how you're going to make your money. So you're going to need to basically set aside some time to learn the market value of items as well as how the market works itself. And keeping your inventory tidy is going to be difficult. One last note. This is going to be hard to swallow for some of you guys, but one thing you have to work towards as a new player is getting this lucky scav junk box. This is a massive container, and all those junk items you're pulling out of caches rather, all through the map, go in here. Okay, so the soap goes in here. These little balls. Basically anything that's not a gun, ammo, or its own category goes in here. And this will help you clean up your inventory because I imagine if you're doing all these cash runs, you're going to have crap everywhere. So Therapist level 2 sells the lucky scav junk box, and it's very hard to swallow. Believe me, I was there not long ago for 1.4 million rubles. Okay, so you're going to need to save all your pennies up. Don't bankrupt yourself trying to buy it. But once you have like 2 or 3 million in the bank, that's the time to buy the scav junk box. Because you're still going to be grinding, doing your scav runs, doing your low budget runs for your PMC, and having this junk box will make your life just so much easier. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be rough to buy that thing, but it makes your life a lot easier. So that's kind of the brief overview of making money. This is going to be, I hope a shorter video than the last one was. The next video is going to be just purely tips and tricks about just the game in general. There is something else to be said right now that I think is pertinent information for this video, which is using your scav run on Interchange. Interchange has a lot of players trying to kill a boss mob right now, so there's a lot of dead players in the map, but there's also a lot of competition for that loot. So you can go on Interchange and find a dead player and make way more money than you would on a cash run, but you could also die very frequently. Interchange is a good map to learn. I'm not going to show you what that looks like because it's basically spawning as a scav and walking around looking for corpses that might have good stuff on them, and then checking the other stores. Interchange is very complex. I recommend you check out Pestale's guide on Interchange, where to find the good loot there. But if you're not running customs looking for caches, Interchange is probably your next best option. But good luck. It's really rough out there right now. My scav runs on Interchange are not going very well these days. But yeah, that's kind of it. I wanted to kind of give you guys the cash run and making money. Hopefully by the next time we interact, you're probably around level 9, level 10. And we're going to talk about budget kits, how to kill players, and the good stuff. This is where things start to come a little bit off the training wheels and more into the real world. So thank you guys for watching. Just as a reminder, I do stream every day on Twitch at twitch.tv/wtfmoses, and then we carry that over to Facebook, where I also stream at facebook.com/wtfmoses. Again, thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. There will be more to come. Subscribe for that. And until next time, I'll see you out there.